Oh, good. Here we are. Hi, folks. How are you? I was looking for my headphones to plug in, but that's the wrong end of the headphones. So we'll just talk. It'll be fine. Um, okay, so we're going to do a little bit of reflecting. Um, if you have already downloaded your Substack planner and printed it out, then you could have that to hand, but you absolutely don't need to. So this is totally free. You can download this. I think it's got like something quirky, like 123 pages or something like that. And it is a place that you can put your Substack plans. But before that, it's a place that we can do some reflections together. So if you want to do some Substack reflections, I'm going to walk you through my process, what I do, looking at the Substack dashboard, thinking about a few things. I've already started a little bit. I also wanted to show you while I was on the phone, I've just had a delivery of my new book. So this is a proof of my new book. I got it in big because, it's mine and why not? So it's called Invisible Trust, The Hidden Rules of Influence and Reciprocity Online. And I've been writing it all year in my 12 chapters club and with my writing buddy. Look at the back cover, it's so lovely, isn't it? It was only going to be an ebook. And then 2 people asked me if I was planning on doing a print book. And I thought, I wasn't, but as long as I don't have to email and post it out myself, I would. So this is what this is. So once I have gone through this and proved it myself, I'm going to re-upload it to Lulu and I'm going to see what the costs are like. But this was relatively cheap to print and it's on really nice paper. Look, it looks lovely. So it might be possible. So that's exciting. So that was an exciting post delivery. So if you've got this, great, your Substack planner. If you haven't and you've just got post-its, don't be jealous. I've got massive ones. Look at those. They're good, aren't they? I am also going to get some smaller ones. You can just use paper if you want. I just find that it's really helpful to do a little bit of plotting, planning, reflecting with post-it notes. And I love Sharpies. So post-it notes and Sharpies appear in a lot of my membership classes. I just think because Substack gives us so many options, it's so helpful to just spread out. Should this live in chat? Is this a note? Is it a note that turns into an article? Should I record this as a live video with someone? There's so many different ways with it, isn't there? So I think it is nice to just, spread out, get your post-it notes, get your pens. So, get a cup of tea. We'll be here a little while. I'll probably do about 20 minutes, half an hour. If you have got questions, obviously feel free. I don't know whether I'll get to them today, but if you remember, you know that you can ask me in chat anytime. Good. How are you all feeling before we start about the close of the year? I know this is a funny day to do it because all the American folks are celebrating Thanksgiving, but obviously in the UK it's just a normal Thursday. So I thought, okay, they can get the replay and I can also say happy Thanksgiving to anybody that is on live. How are you feeling about your Substack? How are you feeling about reflecting? Do you feel like we are closing up the year? Do you feel like you want to do a big sprint to the finish? Like, how's it all feeling? Do you feel like there have been any surprises with what's happened here on Substack for you this year? Maybe some surprise collaborations, some surprise growth, some surprise lack of growth, all that stuff. I would love to hear how it is all feeling generally. Abigail's here. That's nice. Georgina's here. Chich was here. This is so nice. Okay, I might make this a bit more soulful because there's loads of my lovely members here, which I love. So I'm going to just go full soulful vibes because you guys love it. Georgina's saying, excited about closing 2025, finally having a newsletter for the first time ever. What a win. Can I just say, isn't that one of those things? And I remember this. I used to receive beautiful newsletters from people on the internet. And back in 2017, I just decided to start one and mine was not beautiful. I could not make MailChimp beautiful. Didn't matter how hard I tried. There would be like random fonts would creep in. Things were just messy. Things would mess up. Links would be wrong. It was really hard to use. And then people were like, oh, you need to buy Flowdesk. And I'd had no money. I had no money to invest in anything like this. I was just like, well, maybe I'll buy Flowdesk in time. It's never happened. But those of you who use Flowdesk or have used it will understand it is just a very beautiful system to use. It was actually such a treat for me to come to Substack and not have to design anything up, just to be able to write a newsletter and send it out. And I didn't use it for that to start with. I used it just to write long form articles. I do use it for newsletters now. But I think, it's such a beautiful thing to remind ourselves this is something I now have that I didn't used to have, or something that I was looking forward to doing one day. And this year has been that day. Okay, let me grab my little post-it notes and my pens and I'll be back. always a bit of a question as to where my daughter might have put things, but we'll find them. We'll find a pen. There's lots of my pens gone downstairs into like colouring pots because I'm really enjoying these really cute. I think they're called not Koyo, that's the coconut yogurt. They're like a Cozy Co something or other. They're like a brand. It's like a penguin imprint that you can colour in, but I find it so relaxing. And when I was struggling with anxiety last month, it was like the thing that massively helped out of everything. You know, I have a really good toolkit, but it was just sitting on the sofa, colouring things in and letting all the thoughts pop up. It was so magic. I'll have to try and get the name of them. Anyway, that's where a lot of my pens have gone. Let me see if there's one here. Right, we're going to use this lovely purple one because my daughter has obviously wandered off with all of the pens from the office, which is fine. So I tend to use different colours of Post-its just to try and frame up, okay, like we might review in, 3 different ways, say, and I've just picked that because 3 is a nice round number. In the Sparkle on Substack planner, if you have it, when you get to past the introduction, I've written you a little letter, it's only short, and then there'll be a blank page, and then you will get to a page that invites you to write some inspirational quotes. I find quotes can be a beautiful anchor for our work. You've probably got people that you deeply connect with on all sorts of levels. Brené Brown, Elizabeth Gilbert are a couple of my faves, but there's also like beautiful poetry that really just brings me into the moment and helps me forget about online noise. So I tend to write those in there. And the first question is, before we start, what are you most proud of? Let's look at where we've been. Now, that's quite a big question, isn't it? But you might have something that comes to mind, like what do you feel proud of when it comes to your Substack is the question. So you could fill that in there, or you could just write one thing per Post-it note. So we'll do that together. I've done a little bit of this already, and so I can read out what I've written, but I am also going to do a little bit more and just give you guys the body doubling to do it. So what are you proud of? And it's before we start, right? So we got to be proud, like no matter how we feel and what emotions we have towards our online presence or our Substack or anything, it's like, let's let ourselves be super, super proud. So, okay, couple of minutes. I'm reading what I wrote last week. God, yeah, deep breath, you see? So I've chosen like a nice yellow for these, and I'm just going to stick them on the page for now. Okay. So I'll see what you guys have got. The light's dancing behind me. That's really pretty, isn't it? Oh, Georgina's done 20,000 steps. That's very cool. Oh, nice to be in a relaxing live. Yeah. So I've dropped all my Post-it notes down there. You can tell, when someone else has been in your office and you're just like, where are all my things? We'll just pick those up again. So some of the things that I have in terms of what I was feeling proud of last week, and I'll just keep adding to this. So obviously we've got like a good month before 2025 finishes, but there'll be so much more that floods this page. And this can be a really helpful anchor when we do go into the planning, because sometimes things can feel really tricky and hard, and we can always go back to what we were proud of in the previous version of ourselves. So I've got collaborations, working on boundaries, bringing the soul, showing up consistently. I've been showing up weekly on Creatively Conscious, which is my wholehearted business newsletter. Working with a designer. So it was on my bucket list to work with a designer for Sparkle, and I did it this year, and it was a great fit. It felt really beautiful work to do. I was really, really pleased with how all that panned out. And the reason I worked with her, and this is my most favourite thing, is because I popped onto Instagram's threads, and I saw a thread from her that said that she was really low on work and she was really open to having people work with her. And in the past, I know she's been really difficult to work with because she's been so busy. And it just showed me the opportunity of, well, first of all, obviously in business, we always have peaks and troughs, just don't we? But it showed me the opportunity and the alchemy of the internet. Like I'd gone on there and it had been in the back of my mind to work with a designer. And there she was saying, if anyone knows anybody that wants to work with me. And I was like, I want to work with you, Joanne. So that was nice. I've also worked with Erin this year. So Erin is an incredible editor. And I felt like that was such an investment. Like, it's not that it's expensive to work with Erin, but it's an investment to see yourself as a professional writer. Like, even though obviously I have 2 paid Substacks, I'm still working on that mindset piece of going, I get to have a lovely hour with Erin and like tell her everything that's on my heart, tell her everything that's felt difficult, look at the data, decide what to do. So I'm really proud of myself that I booked that session and took that time for myself. So yeah, so that's all I've got so far on that page. But you will find over the next few weeks, if you keep asking yourself the question and coming back to it, you'll find more and more things that you're proud of. We've then got reflections on your October, November, December, just because it's really easy to remember. Like October was only last month and December's coming up. So at this point in the year, you can lean into how you feel November is going. You can reflect back on your stats for October. And then you can snuggle up with December as well, you know, when we get there towards the end of the year and see. So the reflections can be whimsical, like things that you feel, but they can also be things that you see. So I'll just walk you through, and I'm going to do this on my laptop so that you guys know how to do it as well. So if I go into Sparkle on Substack, which is my main publication, and then I go into Dashboard. From there, we've had some nice updates to our dashboards this week, which has been really good. The dashboard where you see your gross annualized revenue, your paid subscribers, and your total subscribers, you can toggle those buttons. So you can say 90 days, 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, 180 days, 1 year, or all time. So I would press on the all time because that's very cool. Like if you just come to Substack this year, then obviously it's going to be similar to the year reflection. But all time, mine is 26th of July, 2023. I remember it so well. It was 4 a.m. when I birthed this Substack. But obviously it was a big fat zero. And now it's nearly 11,500 subscribers, which just feels so wonderful to look at that trajectory and that kind of sea of green on my dashboard. I'm just like, look at all of those people. And of course, there are the people that came and went as well. So it's not the full picture. The going down and the going back up thing can feel a little bit turbulent, but actually, we're still showing up to the same beautiful publication. It's just the people are deciding whether to stay or whether to go. And definitely with Sparkle, I think sometimes people just have an expiration date. You know, they're like, this has been fun, this has been great, but I need to go, or this Substack isn't for me right now, or all sorts of other reasons. So that's really beautiful. It can also give you some like data insights to kind of look at, okay, well, what was going on this time last year? So if I go to, is that 2024? There we go. I might actually just take it 1 year so that I'm not confused. Right. So this time last year, I can look at where my numbers were at, where my income was at, where my stats were at, and then I can have a look at where things are now. So even though with the big summer slowdown that we all felt and the recommendations algorithm shifting, even though that has felt tricky and difficult, and I've kind of questioned a lot of my choices around what to publish here in the last little while, I can see that from this time last year, everything is still up. Everything feels good. You know, you look at it and you kind of go, okay, like, all right then. So that can be quite nice to do. If the dashboard is triggering in any way, and if it makes you feel into your sort of sense of who you are, your self-worth, any sort of imposter syndrome, please hold it lightly, like scroll past it. I think there is a setting now where we can actually hide it, and I haven't looked for it, but I think there is. Maybe it's just here. No, I don't want to download it. No, I'll have a look for that afterwards. But I think we can hide it. I have actually just made friends with it. I made friends with the grey, you know, I've made friends with the green. We can be up, we can be down, but it doesn't affect how brilliant we are and how important it is for us to keep showing up to find our right people. Okay, so when we click on stats on the left-hand side, Stats brings up different tabs that you can click into. I really like the email tab. So we're like into stats and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 along is email. And you click on email and you can see all of the emails that you've sent. And you just like, look at all of that. Wow. Like all of those emails I've showed up to and I've pressed the send button. Like how brave are we? That is incredible work. So please feel proud of that as well. If it's pleasing to you to have a look through and compare the different things, emails delivered's a bit triggering for me at the minute because there's 1,000 people not receiving my emails. But let's go to free subscribers. Why not? So I'm toggling free subscribers at the top. And then when I do that, it shows me how many free subscribers have come in per email, per post. So my hero post, as you would expect, has the largest amount with 227 free subscribers and 34 paid subscribers. I did change that one at some point. So that's not all time subscribers because I put a new one up. I've got Essay Club. Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. When I did Essay Club, I got 121 free subscribers for that and 6 paid. And then I've got various other numbers here. They go down, and then what you start to see is you've got a sort of average, in terms of the amount of free subscribers that come in and the amount of paid, and those numbers are smaller. If you have posts that aren't driving any free subscribers, actually, if I just toggle it the other way and I'll be able to see which ones haven't. So some of those are emails. So the emails sent from my subscriber tab obviously don't have any subscribers because it's not posted anywhere. So if I scroll past those, and then quite often when it's something just for members, they don't have any new free subscribers either. But you basically get to a point where you're like, oh, okay, like on average, I can see this is what goes on with my new free subscribers. You've always got to make sure to put the subscribe button in your post as well. Okay, I've got to it now. So the main reason that people don't subscribe if something is shared, across a lot of different places and you would expect them to, is because they don't feel invited. So if it's helpful to you, you can check those posts that didn't drive any free subscribers and ask yourself, would I feel invited? Because sometimes accidentally we get all in our own head about things, or we talk to the people that we know that are already there. But it can just mean that people find it easy to click away because they don't feel like personally seen. So that's a good thing to check for. So you can have a look through your stats that way round. Obviously, you can have a look like through the different months and see what was happening and what you were publishing. And I just do that by going into my publication and having a look through the different months. So that's really easy to do when you're looking at your reflections and how you felt. I have like a regular publishing cadence on Sparkle, so there probably wouldn't be any surprises here because I'm constantly sort of keeping an eye on it. One of the things that I've noticed that I feel particularly proud of is I was in such a headspace of post, share it, I'm done, that I've challenged myself to share it like loads more times. So to remind people in the members chat, to share it again on notes, to share it on socials, all of that gorgeous stuff. And that does drive more likes and more restacks and more subscribers. So I am proud of that because it doesn't always feel easy. You think, oh, people have seen that, but a lot of the times they haven't. So I can see that as I'm scrolling back through, I can see that I've showed up live a lot, which is definitely part of my strategy here now and has been for a little while. But I feel proud of myself about that as well. I can see that I've been doing my roundups. I can see my beautiful collaborations, which I've already mentioned. I can see some guest experts that I've brought in. So it's been incredible for me to pay other business owners to come in and teach inside of Sparkle. So it's something that I was able to do last year because I got some funded program money to be able to do it and work with a really small group of people. But I was able to offer that out wider. And so when I felt into doing that, I really wanted to do more of it, but not just for the sake of doing it, waiting to find out what my members really needed. So that felt really good as well to be able to offer that. So some of this is feeling stuff. Some of this can be statistical stuff. You can have a look through. And then we've got reflections on the year gone by, so 2025. And I've just like literally listed the months, and you can see I've not written anything next to them yet. But this will all be in relation to my Substack. So I'll go back through and I'll have a look at both the stats, but then also around like the stuff that I was publishing, the conversations that I was having, and I'll just write some little notes. Again, this will be helpful inside of the planning. I have a wall planner on the wall here from Good Tuesday. So I use that to plan out my Sparkle call dates, and then I put in any holidays and things like that. Like I'd totally forgotten it was Thanksgiving today. Like I haven't worked that into my plans anywhere. I knew about Black Friday, but I'd forgotten that Thanksgiving came before Black Friday. Not that it massively matters, but it's just that thing of going, oh yeah, like half of my audience are in America, so that's a completely different day for them. So if I'd programmed a Sparkle call today, which I haven't, then that obviously wouldn't have been like the best time to do it because people are busy with family and stuff like that. So that can be really helpful when you're doing your reflections. And there's a couple of pages that invite you to reflect. I'm going to give you some extra journal prompts to accompany that. And then that's it really. We do this page that says starting between Christmas and New Year. Sorry, you guys can't see it very well. And so because we have this massive rush towards Christmas in this country, and it just feels so frantic. And then there's this beautiful peacefulness and this beautiful sort of sense of feeling content. Well, we don't really know what day it is. We haven't really got that much to do. There's lots of cheese in the fridge. Like it just feels a really nice practice to be able to show up and have a little think about the year that's gone by with that frame of mind rather than the pushing frame of mind. Even this time of year, you know, people might be pushing for more members or more subscribers, or they've got sales running, or they've got lots of life admin going on. So that time of year is a beautiful time to add reflections in. And then you get some fireworks. I love fireworks so much. So you get those, and then a Happy New Year to me page. And then we go into refocusing for Substack for the next 3 months after that. So that will be all in the new year. And I have a free planning planning party, I'm calling it really. It's part of Audience Alchemy. So Audience Alchemy is my audience development program for people that want to come to the page and write long form, or that want to podcast, that want to use their voice and their voice that has gone before and package things up in new ways and get really smart and savvy about how to repurpose content online. So rather than burning out and thinking I've got to write incredible essays every week on Substack, it's really working smarter, not harder. But the planning party is completely free. We're also doing a Substack specific one in the membership, which will be gorgeous. The Audience Alchemy one is going to work across all the platforms. And then in the planner, you've got all sorts of different ways that you can use it. So I've got like the months of the year, and then 3-month reflections. And then I've got I've got it in 10-week blocks. Yeah, so I've got it in 10-week blocks so that you can, this is like the 10th page. So I've got it so that you can reflect on how that's all felt before you go again. So planning your daily habits, anything that you do monthly to feed your creativity, to feed your well-being, to feed your inspiration, and then anything that you want to do quarterly. So any sort of quarterly reflections, and then your weekly cadence as well, because that can change up. So I used to tell people and myself that I only worked 4 days a week, but being a mum and having all the life admin that I have to do, I realised that it just wasn't true. Like my daughter will come home tonight after gymnastics and I'll be up with her probably till about 9:30, and then I'll be really tired and go to sleep. So now I work 4 days a week, and I'm really strict on that. I try to be strict on my online boundaries. Like I sometimes have to go on, but I do take Fridays just for me, and that feels really, really nice. So to be able to put across through the Fridays and just know like I'm not doing anything on those days, both in this planner but also in my physical calendar, that feels really, really nice. So free download if you haven't yet got it. You can print it, obviously you can print at home or you can send it off to a printer. This was printed, actually my mum printed this one. I usually get it printed through Docs Direct, which is a printing service in the UK that Susanna Conway told me about, and you get it printed spiral bound. But I just did the hole punch thing and put some fancy ribbon in, so it felt really nice. So yeah, so it can be really nice to come to the planner and just start writing some things that you're proud of, start having a little look at the statistics. Don't be put off if you look and there's this big period through about sort of May time over summer to now where things just feel a bit desolate and growth hasn't happened. We have all experienced that shift. And so I want you to just find comfort in the fact that there's lots that we have learned about ourselves and the way that we respond to that. And now have found new ways to grow that I will teach you all about. I have done a note about it, but I will go into more depth all about it on a podcast episode. So there's so many ways to encourage growth, but there's also all of the ways to deepen experience for the people that are showing up, reading our work, joining our paid newsletter, joining our membership, all that sort of good stuff. So when you are coming to use your post-it notes and you want to sort of write things out that you might be thinking about for next year, it can be really helpful, and I teach this a lot, to think about the topics that are cropping up, the things that you might want to talk about again. So if you write seasonally, you might write a specific seasonal newsletter for every season, and there might be kind of elements of that feel really easeful. It might be that there's something going on in your life that you feel like, okay, like I might write about that online. So we're building a studio at the moment. There's loads to say about it, to be honest, and I've written about it very little. So it might be that I just use one of these top post-it notes and I just put studio. And then I'll just tuck that in the Substack planner. And when it gets to January, I'll be like, oh yeah, I did think that I would write about the studio. So I tend to kind of separate them out. On Creatively Conscious, I have Wholehearted Living and Self-Seed Your Business. And then I'll sometimes weave in other things if I feel like there's a good fit there. So some of my audience alchemy stuff has gone in there. I've had guest posts and stuff in there as well. This year, I haven't felt compelled to do guest posts on Creatively Conscious. I've been focused on just the two strands, Wholehearted Living and Wholehearted Business, which I call Self-Seed Your Business and Grow. And that's been really great for focus. And I think I probably will do similar next year, but I'm going to add in some video. So I already know that. On Sparkle, I still think it's really open for me. So I usually do a survey for my members. I'll read all the feedback from that. We'll have our end of year party, which will be gorgeous. And I think that there's something about just holding off. I'm not feeling like, okay, I'm going to plan the whole of 2026. I've planned the calls up until April, but I'm really just feeling into okay, we're just going to see how this goes and what the membership need and what people really feel like they need from me, in terms of a space holder, a mentor, Substack expert, a person that can help them. So yeah, so we'll see how it all goes. So have you got any questions, guys? Do you want to chat any more about planning? Have you got favorite planners? I've just ordered a papier diary with my company name on the front. I felt very grown up. It was a very beautiful thing to do. I felt like a beautiful reverent act, to be honest. I was just like, oh, this is so gorgeous. What a treat back to me. So I've got some 2026 dates that will go in there. If you haven't yet got a 2026 diary, again, use my post-it trick. Anything that you confirm, just give it a post-it note and put it in the back of your diary if you still use a paper diary. I think lots of us do. And then it'll be there when you start your January page. I think lots of the reasons why I love reflecting on the whole year are to do with, I feel quite a seasonal being, so it's there aren't really any surprises when I'm planning my year. I don't over plan. I know that I want some downtime during summer. I know that sometimes my energy dips in autumn. When we've had the summer holidays, I think, oh, but I've had the summer holidays, but also been really busy with my kids. And so when they go back to school, it's the relief of all of that and the not over promising myself that I'm going to get all the things done. It takes me a little while to ease into September. So treating yourself like a human and not a machine, and really leaning into what feels good in terms of a seasonal creative practice, and where you get your energy from as well. This year I have done some collaborations that have felt really good, but I've also met up with people in person, which has definitely fueled my inspiration. And it's also fueled my sense of all of this it's still feeling really possible, even though the space has shifted and changed so much. And that's been really, really nice to do, to have those witnesses in actual people that I've met up with for coffees and in London and all of that sort of stuff. Um, Louise has splurged on a Hobanoki cousin for 2026. It sounds like you've invited like a tiny little Studio Ghibli character into your world, but I don't think it's that. I think it's something else entirely. I'm very intrigued. I'm gonna Google it. Abigail's saying the planner is on the way from Docs Direct, Bullet Journal, and Common Planner. Chitra saying stationary planner geeks unite. Love it. Yeah, I think, Joe, it is good to print it, isn't it? And I think, I actually said to my mum, if you print I just wanted this for taking photos of. So I said, if you just print the first page in colour, the front cover, then the rest can be in black and white. But she's printed it in colour, and I do like that. Like, it is lovely. I definitely fell out with mine in the summer. Didn't know where it was for a time, found it again, was like, okay then. But I do think that is fine too. Like, it's fine to get really anchored in with planners and then just be in our life, and just live in our life and then circle back to them. So yeah, I think it's fine however you want to use them. Oh, this is interesting. Chitra saying, I'm feeling the same, only planning a quarter, feeling like I want to rebrand a bit to bring in more spirituality. Yeah, I'm feeling into some sort of like bold statements that come in. Like, sometimes my brain will be like, you need to completely rebrand Sparkle on Substack. And I'm like, no. But then I think, well, yeah, like maybe I do. Like, maybe Sparkle on Substack still is inside of there, but I call it brand hierarchy. Maybe there's a more of a hierarchical brand that sits above it. So it's interesting to me. I feel like for me, it's a shock when my brain tells me that, because everything's been planned on this being something that I do for the long term. Having said that, when I taught about lifetime memberships in my business course, it was a really stretchy topic for me, because one of the guys who I worked with in the early days, he was in the membership, he's probably still in the membership, but we don't hear from him, Jack. He runs a 6-figure a month Substack. He's in the finance niche. And he sold a load of lifetime memberships. And I was like, I realized in that moment, like, I've never thought about like lifetime, when people are like lifetime access. It's like, but what does that even mean? Like, as long as I'm alive, like as long as the platform exists, as long as forever, like, it's just quite a weird concept. I found it quite discombobulating. So I felt like there was work there. Like, and just this week, my brain was like, on Cyber Monday, you could offer lifetime memberships for Sparkle on Substack. But it's like angel and devil, like Jiminy Cricket, because I'm like, but I don't know if I'm going to want to do it forever. And like, what would that price point even be? And how would I even do that? And it's so interesting to me to be in that sea of space of like, okay, the pendulum's here and now it's here. And I think this year I'm quite grateful for the fact that my growth slowed down, because I think the way it was going, I'd worked on making it sustainable for me, but it was still really high touch. And now it almost feels like I've got the balance right. Like, I didn't have to think twice about planning this live in, which feels extra. Whereas this time last year, I was definitely at capacity. And earlier in the year, I was definitely at capacity. So to feel like you've got capacity again is actually like a gift, isn't it? So yeah, a few reflections there. I'll have to get my own transcript, won't I? So Carl's saying I use a box week by week until it's full and then empty it on a Saturday. A box for feeling proud or something else, I don't know. So Amy's also got one of these Studio Ghibli character diaries or planners. I'm gonna have to look this up. This sounds very exciting, guys. Yes, Joe, just use your parents' printer. That's fine. I think so. So Georgina's saying I use Maker's planner and a digital version. Yeah, so with digital, I really wanted to get into, we've got an Apple Pencil. We got it in the pandemic. And I really wanted to get into being able to like giant whiteboard things. And I just haven't been able to like feel into it. So I've got a couple of courses on it. But I really like the idea of it. And I wonder, like, maybe there's just some scope there to like work into that. But there's a beautiful, probably blank on the name of it now. There's a beautiful online whiteboard that I've used before, and it's just like an infinite whiteboard, and you can just plan things out. I did it when I was setting up my funnels. I can't remember what it's called now. I'll remember and I'll put it in the replay. But if anyone knows which one I mean, then pop it in the chat. But yeah, it can feel quite good to just know you've got it there and you can log in again. And I think it's basically like for this, because I love just being able to get everything down on post-it notes and then rearrange things and like work out where things might best fit. I think that we can come to a real embodied practice when it comes to feeling planned and knowing what days and stuff we're going to publish. And there's always space for experiments and trial and error. Like I sent an email out on Monday and it had a really low open rate. And I was like, Monday's so the wrong day for a roundup. Like, why have I done that? But in my mind, I wanted to remind people that my gratitude sale was starting and there was a week to get the discounts. And so I'd put that at the top. So that was my motivation for sending the email. And because I only email once a week, I was like, oh, well, I'll just have to do the roundup because of the timing. And then it was like, I couldn't fit everything in. So it almost would have been better doing it in 2 separate emails, leaving Monday alone. You know, it's like all of these things, you're in it, you do it, and then you realize afterwards, oh, actually, there's a bit of knowledge there, a bit of sophistication that we can zoom out from. Georgina's saying using analog and digital. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love Leonie Dawson's planners, which are, I'll grab one actually. I've got one right here. I'll show you while we're on with planners. There's so many good ones. Right, no judgment because I do have a lot of planners, but this is like over a long time. So this one is called the Get to Work book, and she doesn't make it anymore. She was called Elise. And my friend brought it over from America because the shipping was so expensive. So when my friend came to London, she brought it over. But I really liked it because it's undated, but you can like plan your weeks. And then you can kind of put projects and stuff. And there were these, or next year at a glance, there were these really gorgeous questions. I'm just chuntering on, by the way. So if anyone's got things to do, like feel free to just leave or just have me on in the background. But yeah, there were these beautiful questions. So reflect and goal set. Listen to this. Last month's wins, still in progress, to let go of, to think on, to work on, to complete. Isn't that lovely? So I used that for a long time. That was really nice. And then this one from one of my mentors, Leonie Dawson. This is the 2025 Brilliant Year Workbook, the business edition. She does the life edition as well. And I definitely stopped filling this in. I think summertime. I think I was good until summer, but I'm going to go back through. So December time I'll go back through. But look, it's all illustrated by Leonie and it's like full colour. It's so exciting to like sit with this and fill different bits in. So she sells these on Amazon. Yeah, and they're just beautiful. Absolutely love them. So much in there. And she's really good because she is super creative and there's loads of woo and like beautiful gratitude stuff in there, but there's also like the nitty-gritty of business in there as well. This one is Unravel Your Year by Susanna Conway. I've got this in black and white. So this one is always a gorgeous one. I've got Find Your Word as well. So loads of different reflections. I think I struggled with this one a bit last year, but they're gorgeous and she usually puts those out for free. So if you're not subscribed to Susanna Conway, definitely do that. And then this was one of the first ones I got when I first started getting serious about running my own business and moving away from freelance work. It's called the High Performance Planner and it's by Brendan Burchard. And with this one, you do it every single day. So you have a spread like this, and me and my husband laughed because we've got one each, and I was like racing through it, and he'd like done one page, and he was like, why are you always high performance in yourself? And I was like, I just feel like this is the key to getting out of freelance work, and it was. So you do morning mindset. So the first question is one thing I can get excited about today. And I used to realize that there was a lot that I wasn't excited about. And I was like, oh, I don't know. What can I be excited about? I don't know. Like bed? What do you say? If one word could describe the kind of person I want to be, then today's word is, and why I choose it. Someone who needs me on my A game today. It's so like, yeah, I don't even know how to describe what it is. It's so Brendan, basically. I mean, he's a legend. A situation that might stress me out or trip me up today could be now this, or there would be so many when I was doing my commissioned work. I would just like write a full page of things that were going to stress me out and trip me up. So that's one of the reasons I knew I needed to leave. Um, this is gorgeous. So, someone I could surprise with a note, gift, or sign of appreciation is. So, I absolutely love that. So, this week for me is gratitude week. So, I've got my gratitude sale, but I'm also writing handwritten letters to people. And I'm also like giving people shout outs, small businesses, people that have supported me. Like the whole week for me is about really taking time to say thank you. I have a regular gratitude practice anyway, but sometimes I feel like it just helps negate any negative experiences. And there are a lot in life, aren't there? Things do go very up and down. But I feel like when I've had a particularly tough day, if I just bring it back around to a gratitude practice, it's gorgeous. And so I love having a full week of gratitude. It's great. Started it last year. This is good. You like this one. One action I could take to demonstrate excellence or real value is I'm going to say my live today. I'm going to say I'm demonstrating excellence on this live. A bold action. If I was a high performance coach looking at my life from a high level, I would tell myself to remember that. So the zooming out stuff in here. And then the big projects that I have to keep in mind that I want to take on, even if I can't act towards them today, are. And so because it's daily, you build up, basically, you start to realize, oh, Dave has written in this one, you start to realize you repeat yourself. So you say a lot of the same things every single day, and then you do actually start to take action towards some of these things. So it is really, really good. Then at the end of the day, you have an evening journal. And you kind of note down it's a little scorecard. So obviously, like, it's not for everyone. And I definitely don't do this, like, well, I don't do it at all anymore. But when I was doing it, I would do it like 3 or 4 days of the week. And then I would have a bit of a break because I've got the sort of brain where I'll hyper focus. And it was like, it's quite tiring to sort of high performance yourself all the time, but it is really good. And then, so your habits, you score on clarity, productivity, energy, influence, necessity, and courage. But yeah, high performance planner, you'll not be able to see that, but it's available on Amazon. It used to cost more for the coloured ones, but they do them in colour. If you want to have a look at that. But also, like, Brendan is good to listen to. I think sometimes what was really helpful for me when I was in that freelance world, and it just felt relentless, and it felt like there was never enough budget to do the things we had to do, but we had to do them anyway. It was really good to listen to podcasts on those drives. Like, I would be on long drives every day. So it was good to listen to people who were just making things happen in a different way to me, because I think we can tell ourselves, this is it, this is what we're doing. And because I live rurally, I think it would have been easy to just be in acceptance of all of that. And what I was doing was trying to push myself into the expansiveness of working online, creating online, like making all the rules up all over again. So yeah, it was a really good one for that. I haven't got Selena's journal here, but I've just guested with her recently that Hello Goodbye journal. That's a really beautiful one as well for intention setting and reflection. Yeah. Okay. I can put the names of these planners. I love bullet journaling as well, guys. Yeah, it's really good. Katie Chappell, the lovely Katie Chappell, did a lovely fun project in the pandemic called Bullet Journal Gang. It was so good. And we all just learned different bullet journaling techniques, and I've still got mine. It was like so fun to do. And I loved all of the organization of like meal planning and like working stuff through, and then drawing things out on the dotty paper. It was really, really good. Yeah. So let's make a little commitment to ourselves about how we might want to plan, um, reflect and plan in this next little chapter of the year. So obviously it is only November. We've got the whole of December to go. But is there anything that you'd like to do? Like, do you want to get together with a business bestie? Do you want to get together with another Substacker on Zoom and like talk about your Substacks? Do you want to download my planner and print it out? Like, what little commitment can you make to yourself to make sure that you do give yourself some reflection time, and you can jump into some planning time as well? Like I said, for the members, we've got a Substack. We've got a vision. It's visioning, actually, we're doing first. So we do the visioning first, which is always so soulful and gorgeous. And then I've got my Audience Alchemy, which is like content planning party, which is free for everyone. And then there's another one where I think we're doing visioning and goals together. I'll have to double check, but we've got stuff anyway in January that's going to be really beautiful. Um, do do do. Oh, Abigail's going to do a chatty video of the planners. That's very exciting. I hope that you do because I love watching those sorts of things and it's beautiful, isn't it? I've just ordered one for my son from, I think it's called like Big Life or something like this. It was an Instagram ad, and I'm not usually influenced by Instagram ads, but I've been following them for years. And there was like a specific game that was a little bit around self-worth that I thought would be really good for my daughter. She was bullied at her old school, and like we had all sorts of brilliant chats with the head teacher and stuff, but ultimately it has affected her sense of self. She's only 4, so sometimes she'll say like massive statements like nobody likes me, everybody hates me. And it was like a little game to try and get young children to talk about like the things that they like about themselves, the things that are really proud of, the things that fill up the cup. So I got that, and then there was a journal for teenagers in there as well. I know Tony from Shelf Help Club has just done a little listing of all the fun journals that you can buy. So definitely take a look at Tony's work. But yeah, this is the 3rd year for the planner, and this is the first time that I've done it without dates in it. I call it a journal companion because it's like great to accompany your diary and stuff like that. But I also just wanted the freedom. So it does start in January and end in December. But if you're like me and you fall out with it in the summer, then you could basically use it for a 2nd year. So yeah, so totally free. Download that. What other things should I tell you about? I've got my gratitude sale going on this week, so it's on till Monday, and then there's some more special offers to work with me one-to-one coming out on Monday. But yeah, I just think there is still so much opportunity for us to get to grips with our wisest, most creative, most happy publishing self. There's so many ways to do things on Substack. So I think when we really start to like lift the stones up and see what's underneath and sit with them a bit, there's so much wisdom that we can reflect on in all of that. So that, yeah, Abigail, the visioning date is already up. It'll be in live calls. But if you love that sort of stuff, go do last year's, because even though we're like riding on the fresh energy of 2025, there's so much magic in there and there are so many prompts. And Selena and I were sharing some of our reflections from that session the other day, but there's loads in the archive at Sparkle on Substack. I'm so proud of that archive. Write that down in my planner. I'm so proud of my archive. No, I am. It's gorgeous. And I love that people can go and find stuff and rediscover other things about the platform, but also their response to the platform and what they want to publish. Okay, guys, well, I'll pop off, but it's been so nice to chat planners with you. I think, it is a beautiful invitation. It's not another thing to do. It's just there for you if you want to pick up some post-it notes, if you want to get in that headspace. I find it's nice on low energy days to do it. But obviously you do you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for planning with me and indulging all of my whimsical planning ways. I do think that it really impacts our excellence, to be honest, when it comes to deeply understanding our creative practice. And I think there's so much that we can learn about ourselves by committing to a process of reflection and planning, whether that's daily, weekly, monthly, around a specific topic like Substack. There's loads in there. So I'll chat to you all again really soon. Take care, folks. Bye.